ever get those headaches that just like completely derail your day?
Yeah.
I'm not even talking about a little tension headache. I mean like a full-blown migraine.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Where even like the slightest noise or light just...
That's like an assault on your senses.
Yes, exactly. It's brutal, and we've got a ton of sources here all about acupuncture for migraines and headaches.
Cool.
So today's deep dive is all about exploring this ancient practice
Okay.
to see if it might actually live up to all the hype.
You know what's fascinating to me is how acupuncture just takes a completely different approach.
Right.
Compared to just like popping a pill.
Yeah.
Instead of just masking that pain, it's like it aims to address those root causes of the headache.
So how does it actually work?
Right.
I'll admit, the needles always make me a little squeamish.
Well, you know, it's not as scary as it sounds.
Okay.
In a nutshell, acupuncture involves inserting these very thin needles into very specific points on your body.
Okay.
And these points are believed to lie along meridians. Yeah. Which, according to traditional Chinese medicine, are pathways for energy flow.
Okay, so the idea is these needles kind of redirect that energy flow.
That's part of it, yeah.
Okay.
But there's also a growing body of like scientific evidence that suggests acupuncture works by actually stimulating the nervous system.
Interesting.
And this stimulation can trigger a cascade of effects, including the release of endorphins, which are like your body's natural painkillers.
Ah, so it's like tapping into your own internal pharmacy.
Exactly.
Are we talking just any endorphins, or are there specific ones involved in pain relief?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Research has shown that acupuncture can trigger the release of several types of endorphins, including enkephalins and dynorphins.
Wow, those are some big words.
Yeah, they are.
I'm gonna have to Google those later.
But these particular endorphins bind to opioid receptors in the brain and the spinal cord.
Interesting.
And basically, they block those pain signals.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's not just some mystical energy thing. There's actual biochemistry happening here.
Yeah, there's real science to it.
But what else is going on beyond those endorphins? Our sources mentioned something about blood flow.
Yeah, right. So this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Think about it. Your brain needs a constant supply of oxygen-rich blood to function properly.
That makes sense.
When that blood flow is compromised, for whatever reason, whether it's due to tension or stress, it can actually trigger those throbbing headaches.
So acupuncture is somehow increasing blood flow to the brain.
That's exactly it.
Wow.
Studies have shown that acupuncture can dilate those blood vessels and improve circulation.
Yeah.
And this increased blood flow not only delivers more oxygen and nutrients to the brain, but it also helps clear out metabolic waste products that can actually contribute to pain.
So it's not just masking the pain, it's actually addressing one of the potential underlying causes.
Right.
Is there research to back this up, though? Because it sounds almost too good to be true.
There is.
In fact, there's this fascinating study we have from the Journal of Headache and Pain that found that acupuncture was effective in increasing cerebral blood flow velocity.
Oh, wow.
In patients with migraines, they used a technique called transcranial Doppler ultrasonography to actually measure the blood flow in the brain before and after those acupuncture treatments.
Interesting.
The results were pretty compelling.
That's really impressive. So we've got pain relief through endorphin release. Improved blood flow to the brain. Anything else?
Oh, we've just scratched the surface.
Okay.
Remember how you mentioned that hormonal fluctuations can trigger migraines?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Especially for women.
Right.
Those hormonal shifts can be a huge headache trigger.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, some research suggests that acupuncture might actually play a role in regulating hormone levels.
Okay.
Specifically, studies have shown that acupuncture can influence the production and release of hormones like estrogen and progesterone and cortisol, all of which can contribute to migraines. So it's not just about pain relief, it's about restoring balance within that entire endocrine system.
Exactly.
Wow.
And for those whose migraines are specifically triggered by hormonal fluctuations, this could be like a real game changer.
Okay, so we've got pain relief, improved blood flow hormone regulation. Are there any other potential benefits that we should be aware of?
Oh, absolutely. We can't forget about the impact of stress on headaches.
Right.
I mean, have you ever noticed how stress can literally make your head pound?
Oh, tell me about it. When I'm feeling overwhelmed or anxious, It's almost guaranteed I'll end up with a tension headache.
Yeah, well, acupuncture is actually known for its ability to promote relaxation and reduce stress.
Okay.
And studies have shown that acupuncture can lower those levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, and increase levels of serotonin and dopamine,
right,
which are those neurotransmitters associated with well-being and relaxation.
Interesting.
So by calming the nervous system,
yeah,
acupuncture might indirectly reduce the frequency and intensity of those headaches.
That makes a lot of sense. And it ties in perfectly with what we've been discussing about restoring that balance within the body.
Right.
It's not just about treating the symptom. It's about addressing those underlying causes, whether that's stress hormones or impaired blood flow.
Exactly. And this holistic approach is what makes acupuncture so unique.
Right.
And potentially so effective.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
Pain relief, blood flow hormones, stress. But I'm curious, how does all of this actually translate into real-world results for people who are struggling with these headaches and migraines?
That is like the million-dollar question.
It is.
And thankfully, there's a growing body of research that's shedding light on the effectiveness of acupuncture.
Okay, let's dive into that research then. I'm eager to see what the studies are saying about how acupuncture stacks up against other treatments and what kind of results people are actually seeing.
Well, there are a couple of key studies we should discuss.
Okay.
One was published in the Journal of the American Medical Association, and it found that acupuncture was significantly more effective than sham acupuncture.
Sham acupuncture.
Yeah, that's where the needles are placed randomly, not at those specific acupuncture points.
Oh, interesting.
In reducing migraine frequency.
So it's not just the needles themselves, it's the specific technique and the targeting of those acupuncture points.
Exactly. That's a really important distinction.
That makes a difference.
Yeah, it suggests that there's more to acupuncture than just like a placebo effect.
Interesting. Okay, what other research do we have?
Another study, this one from the British Medical Journal, compared acupuncture to prophylactic medications.
Okay.
Those are medications taken regularly to prevent migraines, and found that acupuncture could be just as effective in preventing those migraine attacks.
Wow, that's pretty significant, especially for people who can't tolerate the side effects of some of those medications.
Right.
Or looking for a more natural approach.
Absolutely. And that's honestly one of the most compelling aspects of acupuncture. It offers this potential alternative for people who haven't found relief with conventional treatments, or who just prefer to avoid medications altogether.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah.
For anyone listening who's struggling with headaches and migraines, it's pretty inspiring to hear about this ancient practice that's backed by modern science.
It really is. And what's even more exciting is that we're only just beginning to understand the full potential of acupuncture.
Right.
And how it can be used to improve our health and well-being.
So we've talked a lot about the how of acupuncture.
Right.
But now I'm curious about the why.
Okay.
What are some of the underlying factors that might be contributing to headaches and migraines in the first place?
Right.
And how can acupuncture help us address those root causes?
That's a great question, and one that honestly deserves a deep dive all on its own.
Okay.
So let's shift gears a bit and explore some of those potential root causes and how acupuncture can fit into a more holistic approach to headache and migraine management.
Sounds good to me. Let's dig in. So you're saying that acupuncture isn't just about treating the symptoms,
right,
but also about understanding the underlying causes of these headaches and migraines.
Exactly.
What are some of those root causes that we should be thinking about?
Well, you've already touched on a few of them. You know, stress hormonal imbalances, even things like muscle tension or poor posture can all play a role.
Okay.
But there's often this bigger picture that we need to consider.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What do you mean by bigger picture?
Well, think about it. Our modern lifestyle is full of these potential triggers for headaches and migraines.
Right.
I mean, we're constantly bombarded with stress, whether it's from work relationships or just the overwhelming pace of life.
Yeah, for sure.
We're exposed to artificial light, noise pollution, electromagnetic fields, all of which can disrupt our nervous systems.
That's true.
And our diets are often filled with processed foods, sugar, caffeine, which can contribute to inflammation and imbalances within the body.
So you're saying that acupuncture can help us address those lifestyle factors? But how exactly does sticking needles in someone change their diet or reduce their stress levels?
Well, it's not that acupuncture directly changes those things.
Okay.
But it can create a shift in awareness and like a deeper understanding of your body's needs.
Okay.
So for example, if you're consistently experiencing tension headaches,
right,
Acupuncture might help you identify patterns of muscle tension that you weren't even aware of.
Like holding tension in your jaw or shoulders without realizing it.
Exactly. And once you become aware of those patterns, you can start to make conscious changes,
Right.
whether it's through relaxation techniques, posture correction, or even just taking more breaks throughout the day.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like acupuncture is giving you the feedback you need
Mm-hmm.
to make those positive changes in your life.
Exactly. And it's not just about those physical changes either.
Okay.
Acupuncture can also help you become more attuned to your emotional and mental state.
Interesting.
And by promoting relaxation and reducing stress, acupuncture can create space for you to identify those emotional triggers that might be contributing to your headaches.
So for someone who's struggling with migraines that seem to be linked to stress or anxiety, acupuncture could help them break that cycle.
Absolutely. And that's one of the most powerful aspects of acupuncture. It
Yeah.
really empowers you to take control of your own health and well-being.
Okay, so let's say someone listening to this is thinking, all right, I'm ready to give acupuncture a try.
Okay.
What advice would you give them?
Well, first and foremost, I would say, do your research.
Okay.
Find a qualified and licensed acupuncturist in your area who has experience treating headaches and migraines.
Right.
Don't be afraid to ask questions about their approach and what you can expect during a treatment session.
Good advice.
It's important to feel comfortable with your practitioner
Yeah.
and to make sure they're a good fit for you. Anything else people should keep in mind?
Yeah, what else?
Remember that acupuncture is a process. It often takes several sessions to start seeing those significant results.
That makes sense.
So patience is key.
Right.
Also, be sure to communicate openly with your practitioner about your symptoms, any changes you're experiencing, and any concerns you might have.
That's good advice for any healthcare provider, really.
It is. Open communication is essential.
Yeah, for sure.
And don't be afraid to advocate for yourself if you're not seeing the results you're hoping for.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to speak up or seek a second opinion.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here today.
Yeah, we have.
For anyone listening who's been struggling with headaches and migraines,
Right.
what would you say is the most important takeaway from our deep dive into acupuncture?
I think the most important takeaway is that there's hope.
Yeah.
You don't have to suffer in silence.
Right,
There are effective treatments available.
for sure.
And acupuncture, with its holistic approach and, growing body of scientific evidence, is certainly a promising option worth exploring.
You know what really resonates with me is this idea of addressing those root causes
Yeah.
rather than just masking the symptoms.
Absolutely.
It's about taking this proactive approach
Yeah.
to our health and well-being.
And that's a powerful message for all of us.
Right.
Whether we're dealing with headaches, migraines, or any other health concern,
Yeah.
it's about understanding our bodies, listening to those signals they're sending us, and making choices that support our overall well-being.
Well said. And sometimes those choices might involve stepping outside of those conventional approaches.
Right.
And exploring those ancient practices like acupuncture that have stood the test of time.
Absolutely. And that willingness to explore and to be open to new possibilities
Yeah.
is what can lead us to that true healing and lasting well-being.
Okay, before we wrap up this fascinating deep dive,
Yeah.
I have one final question that I think is important for all of us to ponder.
Okay.
If acupuncture is so effective at addressing those root causes,
Yeah.
what does that say about our modern lifestyles?
That's a profound question and one that deserves careful consideration.
Yeah.
If we're relying on needles to rebalance our systems and calm our minds, perhaps it's a sign that we need to take a step back and reevaluate our priorities.
Right. Maybe it's a wake-up call to slow down, simplify, and reconnect with the things that truly nourish our bodies and our souls.
I think you're onto something there.
Yeah.
And perhaps that's the most valuable takeaway from our exploration of acupuncture today. It's not just a treatment for headaches and migraines. It's an invitation to live more consciously and to create a life that supports our well-being on every level.
Beautifully said. This has been an incredibly insightful deep dive, and I have a feeling it's going to spark a lot of reflection for our listeners.
I hope so. And I encourage everyone listening to take some time to really ponder those deeper questions
Yeah.
about their own lifestyles and what changes they might want to make to support their health and happiness.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive. To everyone listening, Thank you for joining us on this journey of exploration and discovery.
Yes, thank you.
We hope you gained some valuable insights into the world of acupuncture and its potential for healing.
And remember, the journey to better health is an ongoing process.
Right?
So stay curious, stay informed, and keep advocating for yourself.
Well said. Until next time, keep those brains buzzing and those headaches at bay.
As we wrap up our deep dive into acupuncture for migraines and headaches, there's one thought that keeps swirling around in my mind.
Oh, yeah.
What's that?
Well, we've talked a lot about all the potential benefits of acupuncture.
Right.
But is there anyone who should maybe, steer clear of it? Are there any risks or contraindications that we haven't really touched on?
That's a really important question, and it's always best to err on the side of caution.
Right.
While acupuncture is generally considered very safe when performed by a qualified practitioner, of course.
Right.
There are a few situations where it might not be appropriate. For example, people with bleeding disorders or who are taking blood thinners should definitely consult with their doctor before trying acupuncture.
That makes sense.
Because there is a slight risk of bleeding at the needle insertion sites.
Right. Okay. And what about pregnant women?
Yeah.
I've heard that certain acupuncture points can induce labor.
That's right.
Is that true?
There are specific acupuncture points that are traditionally avoided during pregnancy because they are believed to stimulate uterine contraction.
I see.
So a qualified acupuncturist who is experienced in treating pregnant women will be aware of these points and will avoid them.
So it's crucial to find a practitioner who understands your specific circumstances.
Yes.
And can tailor the treatment accordingly.
Exactly. It's always a good idea to check with your doctor before starting any new treatment.
Right.
Especially if you have any underlying health conditions or are taking medications.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation.
Yeah.
Before this deep dive, I'll admit I was a bit skeptical about acupuncture. I thought it was just like a bunch of needles and mystical energy.
Right.
But now I see there's real science behind it.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
It's fascinating how this ancient wisdom and modern science are coming together to offer these new possibilities for healing.
And what I find particularly compelling is this idea that acupuncture isn't just about treating the symptoms.
Right.
But about restoring balance within the body and mind.
Absolutely.
It's about taking this holistic approach to our well-being.
Yes.
And addressing those root causes that are often overlooked in conventional medicine.
I couldn't agree more. It's about empowering individuals to take an active role in their own health.
Right.
And to explore all the options that are available to them.
So for anyone listening who's intrigued by what they've heard today, and is considering giving acupuncture a try, what's the best way to get started?
Well, the first step is to find a qualified and licensed acupuncturist in your area. You can ask your doctor for a referral or search online for practitioners who specialize in treating headaches and migraines.
And don't be afraid to ask questions during that initial consultation.
Oh, absolutely.
It's important to find someone who you feel comfortable with.
Yes.
And who understands your specific needs.
Yeah, you should feel comfortable asking about their experience, their approach to treatment.
Right.
And what you can expect during a typical session.
Well, I think we've covered just about everything there is to know about acupuncture for migraines and headaches.
I think so. It's been a pleasure diving deep into this topic with you.
Likewise. To everyone listening, we hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity and given you some valuable insights into the world of acupuncture. Perhaps it's even inspired you to explore this ancient practice as a potential solution for your own headache or migraine struggles.
Right.
And if you do decide to give it a try, we wish you all the best on your journey to better health and well-being.
Until next time, take care and be well.